scratched the wrong car and left a note to do the right thing. What she didn't know was that the car belonged to a Korean mafia boss. One honest mistake would pull her into a world of danger, obsession, and a love she never saw coming. Please like and subscribe, it helps the channel. The rain had finally stopped, leaving Seattle's streets slick and gleaming under the afternoon sun. Ava Morrison clutched her portfolio tighter against her chest as she hurried through the parking garage, her sneakers squeaking against the concrete. She was already 20 minutes late for her graphic design interview, and her anxiety was doing that thing where it made her hands shake and her thoughts spiral. Just breathe. You've got this. The portfolio is good. They'll understand about the bus delay. She was so deep in her mental pep talk that she didn't see the concrete pillar's corner jutting out at an odd angle. Her shoulder clipped it hard, sending her spinning. Her portfolio went flying, papers scattering like desperate white birds across the garage floor. She stumbled sideways, her hand shooting out to catch herself against the nearest surface, which happened to be a sleek, midnight black Mercedes S-Class that probably cost more than her entire college education. The sickening screech of her ring scraping across the pristine paint made her freeze. No, 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 no. Ava whispered, her dark brown eyes widening with horror as she pulled her hand back. A thin but unmistakable silver scratch ran along the driver's side door, catching the fluorescent light like an accusation. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She looked around the nearly empty garage, half hoping someone would appear and tell her what to do, half terrified someone would witness her crime. The security camera in the corner blinked its red eye at her, indifferent to her panic. Ava's mind raced through her options. She could run, but the camera had already caught her. She glanced at her phone. She was now 25 minutes late. If she didn't leave right now, she'd lose any chance at the job she desperately needed. With trembling fingers, she wrote on a crumpled receipt. I'm so sorry. I accidentally scratched your car while rushing for an interview. I take full responsibility. Please contact me to arrange payment. Again, I'm incredibly sorry. Ava Morrison, 206-555-0147. She tucked it under the windshield wiper, took one last guilty look at the scratch and ran. 3 floors above, Min Jae Kong stood before floor-to-ceiling windows, watching the city with calculating eyes. His reflection showed a man who looked younger than his 32 years, sharp jawline, dark hair styled with precision, a tailored charcoal suit. But his eyes held the kind of cold assessment that came from years of making decisions others couldn't stomach. When the text came about his damaged car, Min Jae's jaw tightened. Small disrespects became large ones if ignored. It was principle. But watching the security footage changed something. The young woman stumbling into his car, her genuine anguish, shaking hands as she wrote a note. In his world, people didn't take responsibility. They ran. Yet this woman, who clearly couldn't afford the repair, had left her information. Ava Morrison. That evening he called her. Ms. Morrison? You left a note on my car. A sharp intake of breath. Oh God. Yes. I'm so sorry, Mr. I didn't catch your name. I can set up a payment plan or get quotes, whatever you prefer. Where are you right now? I what? Why? Suspicion edged her voice. Good. Some survival instincts. I'd like to discuss this in person. There's a cafe called Meridian on 5th Street. 1 hour. He ended the call before she could protest. Ava arrived at Meridian Cafe 15 minutes early, her stomach in knots. She changed into her nicest jeans and a deep burgundy sweater that her best friend Keisha always said brought out the warmth in her skin tone. Not that it mattered. She was meeting someone about property damage, not a date. Still, her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She ordered a tea she couldn't afford and found a corner table, rehearsing apologies in her head. She'd researched auto body repair costs and nearly cried. Even the lowest estimate would take months to pay off her waitressing tips. When the door opened and he walked in, Ava's breath caught. The man scanning the cafe was absolutely stunning. Tall, moving with a predator's grace, wearing a black coat over a crisp white shirt that probably cost more than her entire wardrobe. His dark eyes swept the room with unsettling precision before landing on her. Their gazes locked, and something electric shot down Ava's spine. He walked toward her with purposeful strides, and she noticed everything. The way his hair fell perfectly across his forehead, the sharp angle of his jaw, the intensity in his eyes that made her feel simultaneously seen and vulnerable. Ms. Morrison. His voice was deep, smooth, with an accent that barely touched certain words. Why, yes. She stood awkwardly, nearly knocking over her tea. I'm Ava. You must be. I'm so sorry. I didn't get your name. Min Jae Kong. He extended his hand. When their fingers touched, Ava felt a jolt of warmth that had nothing to do with her anxiety. His hand was warm, strong, and he held hers a moment longer than necessary, his dark eyes studying her face with an intensity that made her cheeks heat. Please sit, he said, gesturing as he took the seat across from her. Up close, he was even more devastating. Ava forced herself to focus. Mr. Kong, I want to apologize again for damaging your car. I've been getting estimates and I can pay you back in installments. I waitress 4 nights a week, and I just got a freelance design contract, so I can probably manage $200 a month, maybe more if. How much do you think the repair costs? He interrupted gently. The estimates I found online ranged from $1,500 to $3,000, depending on. And how long would it take you to pay $3,000 at $200 per month? Ava's throat tightened. When he put it like that, it sounded impossible. 15 months. But I could try to take extra shifts. Ava. The way he said her name, soft and almost intimate, made her forget what she was saying. Look at me. She lifted her eyes to his, and the gentleness she found there surprised her. The repair costs $5,000, he said quietly. The color drained from Ava's face. 25 months. Over 2 years. She felt tears prick her eyes and blinked them back furiously. I'll figure it out. Promise. I'll pay every penny. Min Jae leaned back, studying her. In his line of work, he'd become an expert at reading people, their tells, their lies, their desperation. But Ava Morrison wasn't like anyone he'd encountered. Her distress was genuine, her integrity unshakable. She was terrified but meeting his eyes, ashamed but not making excuses. And she was breathtaking. He'd noticed it in the security footage, but in person, she was radiant. Her natural hair framed her face in soft curls. Her dark skin seemed to glow in the cafe's warm lighting, and her eyes, deep brown and expressive, held a vulnerability that made something in his chest tighten protectively. I have a different proposal, he heard himself say. Ava blinked. A proposal? I need someone I can trust. Someone honest. He paused, choosing his words carefully. I run several businesses that require absolute discretion. I'm looking for a personal assistant, someone to manage my schedule, handle certain delicate communications, attend events with me. I don't understand. You want to hire me? In exchange for the repair costs, you work for me. 3 months. The position pays well, you'd make far more than waitressing. Ava's mind raced. It sounded too good to be true, which meant it probably was. What kind of businesses? Import-export, primarily. Real estate. Investments. All technically true if incomplete. Nothing illegal will ever be asked of you. You have my word. Why me? You don't know anything about me. I know you're honest enough to leave a note when you could have run. That's rarer than you might think. His eyes held hers. And I checked. You got that design job you were rushing to. Your portfolio impressed them. You're talented, responsible, and you need an opportunity. I'm offering one. Ava bit her lip, a gesture Min Jae found dangerously appealing. This feels like a trap. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. Smart, but it's not. One dinner. Let me explain the position properly, answer all your questions. If you're not interested, I'll set up a standard payment plan for the car. No pressure. Just dinner. Just dinner. Against every instinct that screamed this was insane, Ava found herself nodding. Maybe it was the way he looked at her. Not through her like most people did, but at her like she mattered. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe it was the flutter in her stomach that had nothing to do with fear. Okay, she whispered. One dinner. Min Jae's smile widened, and Ava realized with a start that she'd never seen anything more beautiful. The restaurant Min Jae chose wasn't what Ava expected. She'd imagined somewhere flashy and expensive, designed to intimidate. Instead, he took her to a small Korean restaurant tucked away in a quiet neighborhood. where the owner greeted him like family and the atmosphere was warm and intimate. My grandmother used to make this, Min-jae said, watching Ava taste the kimchi jjigae he'd ordered for them to share. Before we moved to the States. It's incredible, Ava said, and meant it. The rich, spicy stew was unlike anything she'd tasted. How old were you when you came here? 12. My parents wanted better opportunities. His expression darkened briefly. They worked themselves to death to give me those opportunities. Literally. I'm sorry, Ava said softly, recognizing grief when she saw it. They'd be proud of what I've built. He met her eyes. Even if they wouldn't approve of all my methods. What does that mean? Min-jae set down his chopsticks, studying her. He'd brought her here intending to offer a legitimate job, to keep his world separate from hers. But something about Ava's honest gaze made him want to be equally honest. Consequences be damned. I told you I run import-export businesses. That's true. What I didn't mention is that some of those imports exist in legal gray areas. I control information networks, manage protection services for businesses in certain neighborhoods, and occasionally facilitate transactions that won't appear on any official records. Ava's eyes widened. You're saying you're not a word you need to say aloud. His voice was gentle but firm. I'm saying I operate in spaces where the law is flexible. I don't deal drugs, I don't traffic people, I don't prey on the vulnerable. But I'm not a legitimate businessman either. He watched her process this, waiting for the fear, the judgment, the inevitable retreat. Instead, Ava surprised him. Why are you telling me this? Because if you work for me, you'll discover it eventually. And because... He paused, frustrated by his own honesty. Because I don't want to lie to you. You could have just let me pay for the car. Yes, but you didn't. Why? Min-jae leaned forward, his dark eyes intense. Because when I watched the security footage, I saw something I haven't seen in years, someone genuine. In my world, everyone has an angle, everyone wants something. But you just wanted to do the right thing even when it cost you. That's rare. So you want to hire me because I'm honest? Ava's voice was skeptical. I want to hire you because you're honest, talented, and because... He hesitated, then decided to hell with caution. Because I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since I saw you bite your lip while writing that note. Ava's breath caught. The confession hung between them, electric and dangerous. This is crazy, she whispered. I don't even know you. Then let me change that. Min-jae reached across the table, his fingers brushing hers. The touch sent warmth flooding through Ava's body. 3 months. Work for me. Let me show you who I am. If at any point you want to leave, you walk away, no debt, no obligation. And if your business is as dangerous as it sounds, then I'll protect you. The certainty in his voice was absolute. No one will touch you, Ava. You have my word. She should run. Every rational thought screamed at her to politely decline and never look back. But when she looked into Min-jae's eyes, she didn't see a criminal. She saw loneliness that matched her own, intensity that thrilled her, and something else. Possibility. I'm a graphic designer who accidentally scratched a car, she said. You're... whatever you are. This can't work. Why not? Because it's insane. The best things usually are. Min-jae smiled, and the warmth in it melted her resistance. 1 month. Just try it for 1 month. If you hate it, you're free to go. Ava knew she was making a mistake. She knew it in her bones. But when Min-jae's thumb traced circles on her palm, and when he looked at her like she was precious rather than ordinary, rational thought fled. 1 month, she agreed. But I have conditions. Name them. Nothing illegal. I won't do anything that could get me arrested. Agreed. And this stays professional. Whatever this. She gestured between them. Attraction is, it can't happen. You're my boss. Min-jae's smile turned knowing. If that's what you need to tell yourself. I'm serious, Min-jae. Hearing his name on her lips did something to him. He stood, moving around the table to help her with her coat, his hands lingering on her shoulders. He leaned down, his breath warm against her ear. I'll respect your boundaries, Ava, but I won't pretend I don't want you. And I think... His lips nearly brushed her temple. You want me too. Ava shivered. and she knew he felt it. When she turned, they were inches apart, his dark eyes searching hers. "This is a terrible idea," she whispered. "Probably." His hand came up to cup her cheek, his touch impossibly gentle. "But I haven't felt this alive in years." Neither had she, Ava realized. For so long she'd been invisible, the shy girl in the corner, easily overlooked, easily forgotten. But Min-jae saw her, really saw her, and the way he looked at her made her feel powerful, beautiful, wanted. 1 month? She repeated, but her resolve was crumbling. 1 month, he agreed, stepping back before they both did something that would shatter all her careful conditions. As Min-jae drove her home in his repaired Mercedes, he'd had it fixed that afternoon, he admitted. Ava stared out at Seattle's glittering lights and wondered what she'd just agreed to. She'd left a note on a car and somehow ended up in the orbit of a man who was equal parts dangerous and captivating. A man whose world was shadows and secrets, but whose touch made her feel like sunlight. A man who should terrify her but instead made her feel safe. When they reached her apartment building, Min-jae walked her to the door. "I'll send details about your first day," he said. "My driver will pick you up at 9. "Your driver?" Ava laughed nervously. "I'm really doing this. You're really doing this." Min-jae reached out, tucking a curl behind her ear. The gesture was so tender that Ava's heart stuttered. "Sleep well, Ava Morrison. Tomorrow, everything changes." She watched him walk away, his figure disappearing into the night, and touched her cheek where his hand had been. 1 month, she'd promised herself. Just 1 month in Min-jae Kang's dangerous, impossible world. She had no idea that 1 month would become forever. That the shy girl who left an honest note would become the queen of an empire. That the man who dealt in shadows would find his light in her. All she knew was that when she climbed into bed that night, she fell asleep thinking of dark eyes and gentle touches, of danger wrapped in beautiful promises. And somewhere across the city, Min-jae Kang sat in his penthouse, holding a crumpled receipt with her handwriting, and smiled. For the first time in his carefully controlled life, he'd found someone worth the risk. The scratch on his car had cost him nothing. But Ava Morrison? She was going to cost him everything. His heart, his control, perhaps even his empire. And he'd pay it gladly. Please like and subscribe, and don't stop here. Check out our channel for more interesting stories.